or 8 of this model of mower, comparable to this model, which is a mid-mount. That 1435 is a front mount, so it's kind of a different configuration.
Okay, okay.
And we're really wanting to.
Get back.
Yeah.
Good question.
It looked, I just kind of did some looking, and it looked like this was a heck of a lot better mower than what we had, so.
It's an industrial, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I read it. Okay, no further questions? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
1435 is a 26 horse weight.
Mower
And it's also a green and yellow.
Most of the green on. Next item on the agenda is the 12th Judicial Juvenile Correction Advisory Board, and we'd like to appoint Andrew Graybraun for another 2-year term.
My current term expires June 30th, and our next meeting's in July, so it's just basically making sure that it's continued approval by the council to move forward. I'm great with doing it again if they'll have me and if you'll have me, so.
Okay.
So all of a sudden,
Thanks.
so moved.
Motion been made by Councilman Ponto that we approve the appointment of Andrew Graybraun to the 12th Judicial Juvenile Correction Advisory Board. Have a second? Second by Councilman Luttrell.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give it to you guys tonight.
I'll point it.
Any other discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the Civic Plus contract.
Yeah, so this is kind of what we talked about last session, and so this is just a contract to enter into so that we can start talking dates and getting that all switched over. Again, kind of what we talked about was, or I guess what I talked about was putting that into a 4-year, the design portion of that, you can kind of mill that over that 4-year period. The nice thing is it keeps that cost escalator out to the 5th year. It also keeps it, there's no interest cost, so from a budget standpoint, it keeps it really in line, just a little bit more expensive than our current hosting fee, which I'm assuming is going to go up here pretty soon anyways. It's been that way for about 4 years now. And then obviously after that, it's significantly lower than what we're paying. So kind of went again on the guise of higher functionality, really more purpose built for our needs, and then also the redesign aspect, and then from a long-term perspective, if you look at this from a decade type of situation, significantly reduced costs. So yeah, Matt.
So assuming we approve this, how soon will we have to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I kind of asked him to tell me, but he kind of didn't really want to tell me until I think we signed this. But from what I got from the conversation when we talked kind of the initial walkthrough, they're talking kind of 6 to 9 months because they're pretty swamped right now with stuff. But so my goal would be if we could get this to turn on January 1, I think that would be pretty awesome. So we kind of push them towards that way. We've got a lot of content. Mandy's been through this a few times, I have, so hopefully we can push them the stuff they need to do a lot of the work. Yeah, Kent?
When's our contract over with J&T?
So basically kind of what I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, not to J&T, but to Civic Plus tomorrow and say, hey, we're going to have approved the contract, before I sign it, let's talk kind of dates so that we can get in contact with J&T and say, because currently we pay for the coming year all at one time. We used to pay month to month. And so I think we just do that more from a convenience standpoint, because that way we don't have to set this auto pay and remember it. And so I think kind of what Mandy and I were talking about is just kind of figuring out a pretty close line with Civic Plus, let's say it's 7 months or whatever it is, and then just kind of tell J&T, hey, we're going to go month to month, but it's probably going to end in 7 months.
I didn't know if there was any type of contract that we had signed with J&T or.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
I never seen one.
Yeah, so we can double check that obviously before we would sign this, yeah. But it's been 7 years, 8 years, so I would assume that we would remember one or re-up by now. So I think we're just kind of on a month-to-month annual type thing. So, but yeah, I will definitely confirm that before I sign this one.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Graybon that we approve the Pacific Plus contract. Second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Melman. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Next item on the,
And again, I was just gonna say, just so again, for the, website, it's always kind of a big name for, especially the media, but I think, again, it's really that higher functionality and that really gonna be ultimately a cheaper running cost for us. So it's one of those rare, kind of a win-win type things for us, so that's kind of why we're real excited about this, so, sorry.
what's the age we are in now?
That's right.
I was ready. It's been moved we adjourned by Councilman Audi, but second by Councilman McGill. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed, at the same sign. We are adjourned. Okay, in the work section we go. Katie, do you have anything at this time?
No, I sure don't.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a question for you, actually. About a month ago or so, we were talking about some of the legislative things that were coming through. Have there been any updates since your last conversations with us regarding some of the changes that are going on, especially with like election cycles and stuff?
Yeah, they were on break, so this week they were gonna address specifically not the election, but the, well, yeah, that's really what.
The tax lid.
Tax lid, thank you. Tax lid, I heard much on it.
Actually, interesting enough, about 2 weeks ago, I was at a budget seminar put on by the state, kind of like, hey, yeah, how to fill out the budget and use their forms in conjunction with the tax lid, kind of the annual thing they do. And kind of the feeling that I got, or I guess the legislative update that Mandy and I got from that gentleman, who would be pretty in tune with it, was, don't hold your breath type of thing. Of any changes with, especially on the tax lid front, or the, budget, they just didn't seem like there was enough votes or political capital this year to get, they're really trying to fix the budget. That's kind of really what's soaking up all the political capital and time, was kind of trying to close that budget gap in school funding and some of those issues, so.
Because my biggest concern was when you discussed the idea of the taxes being incoming or used versus outgoing. Is it spent here and used here or spent somewhere else?
Oh, that one, yeah.
That was my
Yeah,
biggest
that was
concern, because we didn't know what the impact was gonna be. That was my biggest
That
concern.
was a bill that was introduced, and again, some of those I think have just kind of fallen
Yeah.
Okay.
by the wayside because they're so worried about school funding.
Maybe we'll make a note and look into those, see if it's on that update sheet. and we
I
can send
haven't
it.
seen it on the update
Yeah.
sheet, because it just, they dropped off.
I just hadn't heard anything, so I wanted
Yeah,
to.
kind of what this guy gave, which is still a good thing to check into, but kind of the feeling I got from this guy is like, they're just kind of focused on that and everything else is kind of, besides the Medicaid expansion, which doesn't quite make it either.
I talked to Troy Waymaster last Thursday. He was a representative from over west here, and he's the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, which is basically the budget committee for them. And he said that the tax thing wasn't likely to get out of committee.
Yeah, that's,
This year, he said that the cap, the property tax cap, that's not gonna get anything probably done with it this year either, that they're all in on the budget.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and they're gonna probably, by the end of the week, try to have another vote on a similar tax increase package, what they tried to pass in February that the governor vetoed, and they're expecting to pass something real similar again this week, and whether or not it'll, but what they're trying to do is change it enough so they can get the 3 votes that they didn't have before in the House and the 2 in the Senate to give the veto override, and it's all up in the air. They budgeted for 10 extra days for the legislature this year before they even started. So they're expecting to be there for a while yet, I think.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Leadership.
Jason, you have anything else?
nope, I don't.
Okay. Traders report? That was,
Yeah, that was kind of the first quarter look there. I think the big highlight obviously is the water fund. And again, it's made its last payment on that water main note that we had, so that's kind of why it takes a big hit, and obviously revenue will catch back up. That's why that's the one that struggles a lot too. I mean, it's not super,
hard to believe that it's been 5 years.
yeah, it's not a super healthy fund anyways, but that's why it took a big step backwards, in case, you guys are seeing that, so.
Okay.
But I don't know, Mandy, did you have any other major highlights? I mean,
No, it's boring, thank God.
I think that one's rolling off. What was the other? We have the sewer.
Yeah, the sewer rolled off, the KDHE one, it rolled off in, September
Last year.
of last year,
And
so
then
it'll
our
be
back,
nice.
our back truck is about,
It'll be a year out.
okay, so it's about done. So yeah, we're getting some stuff to roll off here, which is good.
Getting some big things behind us. Okay, Jason got some NCK Tech.
Yeah, so, several months ago when I got here, Eric Burks, from the NTK Tech, the president there, kind of reached out to me, kind of wanted to talk about, City of Beloit, partnership, I don't know how to exactly put this, but, looking at their streets and kind of seeing what we would suggest for, and the big catch here is they're not technically dedicated streets to the City of Beloit. But on the flip side, they, I would still say they're pretty, the majority of them, or a bulk of them, are pretty heavily traveled by residents, whether they're used for their different civic clubs, or the gymnasium, the wellness center there, which we're a partner in, some of those different things, the college doesn't, again, this is some of Eric's comments, doesn't place a mill levy on anybody, so they're basically kind of wanted our expertise on, our input on what it would take to redo those, and we kind of said, hey, concrete would be the most expensive, but, really they probably just need a good seal coating. And so, kind of the thing that we had talked about a little bit and kind of wanted to bring to you guys to see what your thoughts were is, they would pay for all the seal coat and oil, and we could go, just lay it down for them sometime this summer. So, yeah,
Is the campus completely in the city limits?
Almost all of it, except for those red buildings off to the west. So I'd say, was that probably 80% of it, 85% of it's in the
So
city.
what would the downside be to dedicating those streets?
The downside would be technically then we would have to plow them. So currently they plow their own streets because of the hours, et cetera. The other thing is then we're really on, more on the hook. They could then petition us, and being the majority property owners through there, then we would have to, if they want to pay for the concrete or for anything, then we'd have to go up and do our usual program where we would lay it. So really we're almost
They're
put.
in the city limits,
Yeah.
they're taxed, they
Well-
have funds.
Well, and kind of what I look at is like, we could kind of do a similar thing, almost like they are dedicated, but we don't have to plow their streets. You know what I mean, which is kind of a nice,
Are they on city electricity, or are they on REA?
maybe probably tell me, but yeah, they're both, I just don't know what the
Split.
split
They
is.
have each, yeah.
Yeah. Because I can't remember what the deal was a long time ago. but then-
The RA supplied the electricity.
Yeah, 'cause we did, that's what
Back
it
in the
was.
beginning.
The story supposedly was we were too afraid to put some infrastructure out there because somebody didn't think it was gonna last, and this is the story. And so REA stepped in, or whoever did, and then obviously we have since taken power up there, and,
Who has been responsible for upkeep on their streets?
I think that them, but from what I gathered from Mike, is we have, yeah, we've touched them before. Yeah, we have, yeah.
How long is this gonna take?
Probably 2 days.
I think it's a good gesture working with them, and,
Yeah.
because it's really nice to a town our size to have that.
I mean, if we've done it before, they bring a lot to the.
Correct. And they also provide
Also
a
have the water and sewer. Yes.
Yeah, they've given us things, even since I've been here, I call them if we need something that they've got, so it's some labor for what they've done for us in return.
There's a lot of.
They're asking for labor and equipment. I mean,
Correct.
The materials is all on them, right?
Correct.
I mean, of
Correct.
course, I guess where a machine breaks down, we get the
Yeah,
repair bill, but that's.
Well, if that machine breaks down, it can break down when it's doing ours.
but yeah, you're right.
Yes, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, our citizens use the streets,
Dedicated streets.
yeah.
And just make it formal and thank them for all the goodness they bring to our community.
Yeah. Well, that's not the proposal here, is dedication, that's probably a whole different animal, but.
I think we
Yeah,
I think we
it wouldn't surprise me if they might ask for that down the road.
I'd be in favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say go ahead and do it.
I think we proceed with it.
Again, it was not a very big dollar amount, so I just didn't want to approve it without. Kind of moves us on to another kind of a, interesting kind of relationship here, you know, with the school and the fair board and the city sports complex. So we kind of lease the ground, we have a bunch of, ball fields on it. Down here. So this is that parking lot, up there in that kind of that southeast corner of the high school parking lot. So kind of.
Left is north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next to the field is the spot we're talking.
Yeah.
Where there's that like D-shaped,
Top pointer.
yeah, where the D-shaped piece of grass is, and then north or east of that.
So, right here,
Yeah,
this section right here, that makes sense.
it's really bad in there, it's about.
So our big city Beloit Sports Complex sign's like right up there. And, you know, the fair board, if I remember right, the property line's about like right here. But again, I think from my understanding is we kind of lease that, or have